Mindset RX podcast, a show for functional athletes who want to gain a champ's mindset. My name is Tom Foxley, and I'm the founder and head coach of Mindset RX. So today's show is all about how to hit more PRs. Now, if you're a CrossFitter, if you're any kind of athlete really, the aim is to get better. The aim is to become the best version of yourself athletically and create essentially the best output. Now, the best output may be back squatting more weight. It may be getting a lower Fran time. It could be a 5K run, a 10K run. But whatever it is, we always fall into the same trap here. And that is that we look for external solutions. We look for, and if you've been a long time listener to the show, you'll be familiar with this soapbox speech. But we look for the external solutions here. We look for the nutrition program. We look for the new online programming. We look for the new coach or to change our box or our supplements. We look for an external source of change. And I'm not going to go into why that doesn't work because I've done it before. And also, I've made those mistakes too. I've spoken about this before, but I've also made these mistakes too. I've been in that situation where I've for both myself and the athletes that I worked with, I've been seeking that external situation. I've tried to get the athletes I work with better by spending time working with their mobility. I've done the same thing by online programming. I've done the same thing by working very specifically with their nutrition. I try to give them things with the external solution, but it's never really worked. Or if it has worked, it's given them such small improvements that we may as well not have changed anything anyway. So here's why you'll never PR unless you change your mindset. And this is a huge topic. The mindset has to be changed first. And as I said, this is why you'll never PR as often as you will if you want to. You'll never PR as often as you will as if you change your mindset. If you don't change your mindset, and that is the worst English I've ever used. But I think you get the idea. So the first reason with this is inconsistency. When our mindset is not in point, we fall into two camps. One, we don't show up as often as we should. Whether that's you miss one session a month or 10 sessions a month, we don't show up as often as we could. But the other side of this, and I think this is much more common, especially in the CrossFit world, is we show up, but we don't really show up, if you know what I mean. We show up, but we're thinking about other things, and we're not really pushing hard in WODs, and we're kind of giving 60%, 70%. It's not like it used to be, I think is the way of putting it. So what we have to do first is understand that when we change our mindset, our consistency improves. And that's the most important thing there. We start hitting this WODs with more intensity. We start to turn up at the gym on a more consistent basis. And that in itself leads to huge progress. But if you don't change the mindset, you won't address the reasons why you're not turning up as often. So reason number 2, and this is a very common one, is negativity. And what that, you guys know what that means, but let's just talk about how it stops you from achieving what you actually want to achieve. When you're negative, you will never enjoy the process. And if you don't enjoy the process, you'll have to force yourself through it. And when you're forcing yourself through a process that you don't enjoy, you will struggle. You won't work as hard. There's that kind of intensity tolerance piece again. And honestly, it's just a shitty environment to be in as well. It's not an enjoyable mental landscape to be in when we're just negative the whole time. And the third one of these, and it's very, very important, is that we won't see the patterns that crop up. So if you don't change your mindset, we won't see the patterns that crop up. And what patterns am I talking about? These patterns can be positive or negative. They can positively influence our life or negatively influence our lives. And they can be things like on a macro scale, like every kind of 5 days we get into a consistent flow of going to the gym. Then the weekend hits, and then we miss our objectives for the weekends. We don't work as hard. We don't get to the gym. We maybe go out and drink or eat a load of crap, and we do that time and time and time again. So we have that, or we have a micro scale. So maybe you'll notice that you come home from work and instead of going to the gym, you sit on Facebook or Instagram scrolling through and waste your time like that. Now, we're generally aware of these if we don't address our mindset. And let's just cast the obvious aside. You can see how both of those things will negatively affect your improvement. But if you don't change your mindset, what will happen is you'll see them in the corner of your mind's eye. They'll be there, and you'll be aware that you're wasting time, or you'll be aware that you're more inconsistent than you should be, or you'll be aware that you're in these other, like another type of pattern that isn't taking you where you want to go. But what happens if you don't change your mindset is that you never really bring it to the surface. You hide from it, and therefore you never address it, because in order to change our beliefs, in order to change our outcomes, we first have to become aware of our beliefs. And to change our stories, we must become aware of our stories, and then we change our beliefs and then we change our actions because of it. And those are the three big things that will mean that you PR more often, that you become a better athlete by changing your mindset. First of all, it's the inconsistency piece. You become more consistent. You're more positive, and also you're a nicer person to be around. Let's not ignore that piece. And then thirdly, we see the patterns when we change our mindset. We kind of get a fresh perspective on what the world really is and how we're seeing the world. It's like you've kind of been snapped awake, and it's like, oh shit, this is how I've been missing my potential for so long. And that's why we have to change our mindsets. And that's how to become a better athlete. So if you enjoyed the show, if you think that someone else needed to hear this, head over to iTunes, leave a 5-star review and some kind words too. But also share it amongst friends as well. I'd much rather that it's a one-to-one kind of sharing on this. Like, just let someone know. If you think there's someone at the box who might enjoy it, if there's someone, a friend of yours who might enjoy it, let them know. And I'll be eternally thankful, and you'll win 5 internet points as your prize. So I'll speak to you very soon, and keep on crushing it.